Well, here's an interesting experiment we can all try. Post a factual statement on a social media platform like, say, Twitter, that you know will trigger the platform's vigilant sensors. I'll let you decide what those triggers might be, but they're pretty obvious. Next, post an identical statement on other platforms like Facebook and Instagram. Then sit back and watch which of the platforms is most neurotic about users making statements of fact. I did this myself last week and discovered, not to my surprise, that Twitter is the platform par excellence of preventing publication. While the Twitter ecosystem seems to thrive on abuse and vitriol, the people employed as the platform's gatekeepers have a distinct aversion to any plain facts that favour a conservative or individualistic perspective. Well, that might not be for too long. Elon Musk is getting closer and closer to taking over the company, and he has promised he will sack 3/4 of the staff. 3/4. Of course, if those sacked employees have complaints, they will presumably be free to express them on Twitter, where there will be less censorship than there is today. The irony of this will be lost on them, but not on my next guest, Queensland law academic James Allan. James, welcome.
Thank you, Fred. Thanks for having me.
James, are you excited to see a blossoming of free speech on Twitter when Elon Musk takes over?
Well, you have to admit, it's nice for someone with that amount of money to blow $50 billion on Twitter, because you figure he's not making money on this investment, but he is going to make it a little bit freer. And I'm hoping he releases the algorithm that's been in play. I'm pretty sure they're busy hiding it right now, but we want to know how gamed the system was and how much they pushed the left-wing point of view. I'm sort of marveling that he found 1/4 of them he could keep in their jobs. I mean, I'm surprised it was that high, really.
I think they all work in the cafeteria.
Yeah, the cafeteria, the delivery truck guys.
Yeah, goodness knows what they're delivering. But anyway, we'll get back to the algorithms in a minute. But let's just talk about what effect these platforms have. Big tech has already admitted, of course, that it buried the Hunter Biden laptop story before the 2020 US presidential election, which arguably significantly affected the outcome. Will Musk's liberation...
Based on some polling, who believes polls, but based on some polling, it changed enough. Enough people said they would have voted the other way that you can retrospectively say it swung the election.
Indeed.
But who knows? Yeah. Who knows? But they are living off the Section 230 protection, which treats them as not a publisher, but as a platform. But when you start editing which views go in and which don't, you're a publisher. And so you should be open to all the same sort of libel and defamation rules as, the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. They're not.
So can you just for the viewers, can you explain what Section 230 does?
It's a protection that sort of, in order to let the internet take off, they got this special protection, which sort of allows them not to be treated as a regular publisher. So, the conceit was that they would just be posting everyone's views in a sort of homage to the sort of free market and free expression of ideas. But it's all been captured by one point of view. They've done studies that show that people who post on Twitter, they're so far left-wing that they equate to the most left-wing district in Congress out of all, 430 of them. So it's an incredibly left-wing echo chamber. Now, in part, we just assume that's the sort of people who deal in Twitter. But it now looks like also that the big tech sort of gives them a little boost through algorithms, through bots. And, he's an unlikely sort of free speech warrior, Elon Musk, but he can't make it worse. So At the very least, he can't make it worse, and he's probably going to make it better. And he went to my university at Queen's for a year, so I can reflect in his glory to a diminished extent. He's a Canadian as well as a South African.